And in first place, great job again. We see AO Scan Global. Well done. She's going to get the 6-pack of passes to share
AO
with other
Scan
people.
sample passes. Congratulations to all of you. All right, tonight we have someone who is highly anticipated. Please welcome Loren Swensen to the call.
There is so much in the AO scan to talk about and so many features that we have to play with that sometimes we kind of lose track of everything that's there and what's new and what's been there a long time. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about Frequency Cleanse. That's one of the newer features that's been added to SEFI. And Frequency Cleanse is an amazing tool because it helps us cleanse our body of frequencies that are not helping us, frequencies that are weighing us down, frequencies that are holding us back from our potential. One of the things that's unique about the AO SEFI Frequency Cleanse is there are 5 unique sounds. Now, there's a lot of noise-generating machines on the market. They're all great. They do their purpose. They help block out some of the noise to help us sleep better. Or sometimes even during the day, we'll use some of those noises to where we can be more focused on what we're trying to do. Where it is unique is that in the 5 different noises, we have the white, the pink, the brown, the blue, and the purple. And then, of course, we have the 3 sweeps, which we'll talk about in a second. But why this is so important is these have been tuned, not just to give you that noise, but to where they can accept a background frequency to be blended with the noise. So it's not just a noise-generating device to help you sleep or to focus. It's also a delivery system for a frequency. And this is where it gets exciting. Now, in this module, you have the ability to just go in and pick white noise or blue noise or whatever noise you want to listen to. And then you can go down and select one of the solfeggio frequencies, or you can draw from frequencies that are also in the database in SEFI General to add that to what you're listening to. But you have the feature of being able to scan. Now, what is scan? Scan is you really don't know what you really need. You just know you're tired or you're not able to focus, and you want, tell me what I'm supposed to do. You ever get that point where somebody please tell me what to do? Well, that's kind of what this is. You can hit that scan button, and it will take a 3 to 5 second bioscan of you, the frequencies that you're right now emitting, and say, you know, right now you need X, and it will pick one of those frequencies in the solfeggio line, okay? But it will also pick one noise, and that noise is brown. Now, people, some of you have asked, why every time I scan does it automatically select brown? And that's a really good question. It was intentional. It was intentional to be that way. Before I tell you why, let me also explain that if that doesn't resonate with you, you have the ability to go and select one of the other noises. You can go in and say, no, I don't want brown, I want white, or I want pink. Okay? But the reason it defaults to brown is when we listen to the brown noise with whatever frequency that's been attached to it, that is when your body and your mind are most in sync while listening to brown. Brown noise encompasses all the frequencies that our ear can hear, from the very low frequencies to the 22,000 hertz frequencies, but primarily focuses on the lower frequencies. This is really good if you deal with anxiety, or if you deal with ADHD or ADD. All of these are positively affected while listening to brown noise. And so it was our decision to put the best frequency as a general frequency behind whatever it is that you were scanning for, one of those chakra frequencies or one of the Savaggio frequencies or whichever frequency you decided. But like I said, you have the ability to say, no, I'm going to listen to pink or I'm going to listen to white. But brown was by default, and that's the reason why. It's been referred to as a warm blanket for our mind and our body as we listen to that particular brown noise sound. Frequency cleanse is something that has an enormous impact on us while we sleep. And when we sleep is when our body does its most healing, not just physically, but also emotionally. So listening to a noise with a frequency is like a home run. It drives whatever that frequency is deeper into our subconscious so that in the morning we may feel better or have answers to questions that we had before we went to bed. Use frequency cleanse. Get rid of the frequencies that you've picked up throughout the day. That's its main purpose. Get rid of all of those. And then treat your brain and treat your mind and treat your subconscious to some frequencies and some influences that are going to lift you, uplift you, physically, mentally, spiritually, in all of those ways. Use frequency cleanse every night when you sleep. You'll love what it does over a period of time. Now, you also have, in that, you have the blue and the purple noises. Those are noises that you wouldn't want to listen to at night. Those are noises that you'd want to listen to while you're working. Let's say that you have an intense job where you're doing a lot of computer work. Put on some headphones and listen to blue noise or purple noise. That's going to help the brain stay in a higher wavelength up in the beta gamma area so that you can be more focused on what you're doing actively. And both blue and purple will also, in some cases, help with ringing of the ears. The three frequency sweeps, they're identical in what they do, except for their duration. So what happens in frequency sweep, we take the 12 primary notes that we focus on during inner voice, okay? So those 12 notes in that one octave. And it will do a sweep all the way down to one note and then stay on that note for 3 seconds. And then it will sweep to the next note and it'll do that 12 times. The difference is you have a short, a medium, and a long. And the only difference is how long it takes to sweep to that note. So it'll go through all those notes and then focus on one for 3 seconds. That is an amazing contribution to inner voice. So if you do your inner voice and then you go in and you follow it up with a frequency sweep, it can be a short, medium, long, doesn't make any difference. It just kind of hardens that in place. And it really doesn't matter if you do it before you do inner voice or after. Either way, it just reinforces what your inner voice is bringing to you. So frequency cleanse has a wide range of benefits and things to use, not just when you sleep. Okay, before we move on, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about frequency cleanse, and that is really important, and that's your binaural. The binaural function is really, it's not my favorite word for what this does. Because binaural means you got a beat in this ear and a beat in this ear, and your brain focuses on the difference. And that is true. But what we've done here with frequency cleanse, let's say that you've picked one of your tones that one of the frequencies you're gonna put in, and you've picked one of your noises that you're gonna listen to. If you select binaural, you must use headphones. Because now the information coming to you is unique to each ear. Okay, what's coming in the right ear is different than what's in the left ear. And if you listen to that just in an open speaker, it's absolutely of no value. So whenever you click binaural, you must use your headphones. But it makes whatever you're listening to infinitely more powerful. And the reason is, let's just say that the frequency that you picked was 369, 369. Well, it's going to take and put a number in frequency in this here and a number in or a frequency in this here. And when you listen to those two together, it makes 369. Not 369 here, not 369 here. Two different numbers that when played at the same time, it gives you 369 in your center of your head. You'll feel like you're hearing it in the middle of your head instead of in your ears. Why that's important is the brain focuses on the difference between left and right ear. It's a powerful way to drive it. Now, this isn't something you can do and sleep to at night. That's going to be when you just go back to turn off binaural and just with your sleep speaker, your little pillow speaker, or whatever you're listening to. That's totally different. So if you're really wanting to focus on something, you have a project that you want to work on, you've got some emotional issue that you're trying to deal with, that's when you want to use binaural. Pick your tone, pick your music, pick your frequency, click binaural, sit in a chair, close your eyes, put on your headphones. That is the entire frequency cleanse. So much to use. Okay, now I want to go into some other things here too. The hub, the AO hub, what a wonderful tool. And that sounds almost like I'm bragging about it. I'm not. That's what you tell us. I agree with you. It is an amazing tool. What is so magical about the hub is what it allows you to do with your AO scan. With the hub added to the AO scan, you're able to add lasers, 6 of them. Lasers that can be plugged in, and now instead of just having a laser, just like everybody else can have, you're able to program those lasers with specific frequencies from your scanner, from the SEFI. You can actually program those into those frequencies now are modulating the light that's coming from your laser. Takes the laser to a whole nother level. That's one of the things you can add with it. The other one you can add is the rTMS. When you want to focus on putting a mild magnetic field into the brain to help with all sorts of things, focus, ADD, all types of things that could make your health better with the rTMS. And there's so much information out there that you can read, and I'm not going to go into that here. But do your research and find out what rTMS does. And that's another attachment that you can add to the hub, to your scanner, which makes your scanner even more versatile. The other thing you can add to that is TENS and EMS and CES. All of those are other features that by having the AO scan hub attached to your scanner, you're able to add these types of features as well. A one-time purchase, it's not a monthly subscription. You buy the hub, you hook up your AO scan to it. Now, as you can and as you want, you can add these other features. And there will be other pieces of equipment that will, over time, be adding to where they can hook to the hub, to where they can interface with the AO scan. Because everything in the AO scan is done in the cloud, these other attachments need an interface, and that's what the hub is. Pure and simple. It's an interface allowing you to add other tools to your AO scan so that the processing power can still be done in the cloud, but the physical part of it that you need has a place to attach. The hub is an amazing tool that you'll be able to use especially if you have a wellness center or a big family. It's just a great adjunct to your AO scan. And I'm telling you this because that's what you're telling us. This is the feedback coming in. The hub has changed my life. The hub has done this. And that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to see. Do some work, do some homework on the hub, but that's what the hub is. And I think today, the last thing I want to talk about is the SEFI Star. The SEFI Star is another one of those newer features that's been added to the scanner. It's a lot of fun. It opens up avenues when it comes to imprinting and broadcasting that were very limited and are limited on just the AO scan. So before I go into the Star, let me explain a little bit. One of the questions that came up when we were talking about introducing the Star was, why do I need something else? I can already imprint on my phone. I'm doing it all the time. I'm doing it off my computer. I'm doing whatever. Why do I need something else? And that's a valid question. And the answer, simple answer, is you don't. You don't need anything else. You can stay with just what you have. The best way to explain why we would bring out the Star is, okay, when you bought your first house, it was probably small, just enough for you to fit in, and it was comfortable, and that's all you could afford at the time, and it did what it needed to do. Put a roof over your head and gave you a place to sleep and shower, and it was your own. But as your family grew, and as you became more stable, you wanted a little more space. You wanted a little more freedom. You wanted to have a little bit more. And that's kind of what the Star is to the scanner. In the scanner, you can pull up a frequency or a homeopathic, put your thing on there and imprint it. And you're imprinting it. In other words, you're introducing a frequency to it in a very simple, effective way. When you go to the Star, it's taking that same information in a whole lot more power, and it's taking all that information and it's now putting it into whatever's on top of the Star, and it introduces those frequencies multiple ways, through light, through an induction coil, through a star coil, through sound. All of these things are being, the same information is being put to all of those, the coils, the speaker, the magnet, and it's being directed into whatever's sitting on top of the Star coil. But where it's different from a normal imprint is in the way that information is being sent. It's being directed to an object. And the way we describe it in the industry is just a simple broadcast is similar to like a prayer. When you say a prayer, you're voicing an affirmation and you're sending it out with all your intention. Incredibly powerful. When you're using a Star, it's like taking that same information and running it through a megaphone, a big hi-fi speaker, some lasers. You're broadcasting it to the whole world, but it's all being focused into whatever that object is on the Star, whether that is the picture of somebody or a bottle of sucrose pellets or a crystal, whatever it is, it's being what we call as etched. It's being introduced in such a way that that frequency gets etched into it rather than just sent to it. Now, the question has come up, well, if you're etching, does that mean it's permanent? And the answer to that is no, it's not permanent. It's just stronger. It's a deeper coat of ink being printed on a piece of paper, so to speak. I remember when I was in high school years and years ago, we had a little copy machine, and you had this paper, I don't know what you master that you'd put on this drum, and then you put stack of paper in here, and you'd roll it through, and as it rolled it through, it'd imprint that ink onto each sheet of paper one at a time. And then, of course, we came into copy machines, which actually imprinted ink right onto a sheet. And if you were to look at the ink on both of those papers, you'd see a huge difference. One is just a transfer, and one is actually a measurable amount of ink that you could see on that piece of paper. I don't know if that makes sense, but when you're etching something, you're putting more of that information on to wherever it's being broadcasted to or into. One of the benefits from etching instead of broadcasting is we have found that an item that has been etched or imprinted on the Star is able to pass through an X-ray machine at the post office and still have a measurable frequency at the other end. Whereas if we just imprint something, if it goes to an X-ray machine, it's probably going to have less than 90% of that frequency still viable. And here's the thing, if you're shipping something, it's going to be X-rayed twice. Once when it leaves your city and once when it gets to the other city. If you're going through on an airplane, going through the TSA X-ray machine is going to impact something that has been just imprinted versus etched. So the Star makes whatever you're imprinting so much more powerful. There are so many testimonials out there of people that are using the AO Star, and they're telling us of these things that are incredible that are happening as they use the Star in their imprint. And I would send you to those platforms to read those yourself. The Star is one of those niceties, not necessity, but a nicety that if it fits within your budget and you're doing a lot of imprinting, the Star makes really good sense. And it's one of those things that the more you use it personally, the more you'll get to the point where I don't know how I ever got around without it.